I gather you're here to speak to young people about the future in the oil industry. Is there a future for young people in the oil industry?
Oh, there's a fantastic future for young people in the oil and gas industry. I can't think of a better future for a young person than in the oil and gas industry, and that's where I've always been all my life. I've been in the industry now for nearly 30 years, and I don't regret that a bit. I mean, I might have led an interesting parallel career in some other things, but I chose not to go down that route. But if you're going to come into industry, this is the one to be in.
What attracted you to the industry in the first place?
Now that's a very interesting point, because I see behind me we've got the Shell stand. I came into the industry because of a cartoon, and it was a cartoon which was being run through the late 70s about Brent Charlie, which Shell ran at that time, and for some of your listeners, they may recall it was an animation of Brent Charlie which disappeared into the mist and the waves of a hazardous North Sea, and the music of Blow the Wind Down Charlie was gradually replaced with now quite famous Shell music, and there was no dialogue in the commercial at all. But at the very end of the commercial, I think I recall that it came up and it said, every week, every day, 24 hours a day, bringing energy to the people of Britain, Shell. And I sat in my bedroom in Fife, and when I was struggling to work out what I wanted to do, I saw that commercial and I thought, that looks like the kind of thing for me. So I joined the industry because of an animation, and I think that personifies how you reach out to and communicate with young people. You need to talk to them in the language that they understand, and I think as an industry, in recent times we've perhaps lost that image.
Many young people are perhaps concerned because although there's been a skill shortage in the past, in the last year a number of people have lost their jobs in the oil industry. Should that be a deterrent?
I don't believe so. I had a very real experience of that when I was 26 years old. I was made redundant when I was 26, and perhaps my career in the energy industry could have stopped right there. It didn't. I went off to do something else for a little while, developed many of the soft skills which have helped me in my career going forward, skills like presentation skills, communication skills, which I think are all too often lost in the pursuit of technical excellence, which the industry constantly pursues. The message which I conveyed to a room full of young professionals for the Society of Petroleum Engineers yesterday afternoon, and tomorrow will convey, I hope, to a room full of young school leavers aged between 15 and 18 years old, is that this is an industry which has its cycles. We're going through one of those cycles just now, as every other industry is. But you can respond to that. You can take experiences such as I experienced, and you can make them work to your advantage. And people who are determined and passionate and driven will come out the back end of that process stronger for that. So in terms of opportunity, when I joined the industry, the drilling industry was becoming increasingly complex, and the skills of professional engineers were required to move it forward into the world that we now know as commonplace, horizontal drilling, etc., etc. Today, with an industry that has a demographic somewhere north of 42, 43 years old, what that tells you is that very soon there is going to be an enormous amount of opportunity for young people.
How is Synergy coping with after? Sorry.
You're just creeping in a wee bit.
Oh, sorry. After a hugely successful launch, how is Synergy coping now with the recession, and how are the relationships with the oil majors changing?
The last year has seen most companies affected, obviously, in different ways as a consequence of the constraint in financial liquidity. Synergy has seen some of its smaller customers find it very, very difficult to raise the capital to make the types of investments that they want to make in the short term, particularly in exploration-related activity. And that flows through into activity. However, what we are seeing is that most companies are positioning themselves for a sustainable future where oil is now in a range of north of $60 a barrel, not the $149 a barrel that we briefly saw, but certainly north of 60. Cenergy has used this last 10 months to integrate more effectively the companies that we've acquired over the course of the last 24 months, of which there were 5. We made a pretty good job of that integration sequence, but there's always a few things that you'd like to tidy up, and so we've used that time to tidy things back up. We are back in the world of discussions to continue our growth through acquisition as well as organic growth, and I would be surprised if we were to go another 12 months without making an acquisition. So in terms of the relationship with the oil majors, I think in time, in history, we'll look back at this period and see that the industry went through an enormous level of change. Everybody now, I think, recognises that the nationalised oil companies of the world, who are in control of very much the majority of the world's hydrocarbon-based reserves, are taking the opportunity to work towards a different business model than they have in the past. They are looking to internationalise themselves, invest overseas, whereas once they would have stayed within the sovereign domain in which they actually operated. That's presenting some challenges for our bigger clients who have been used to operating in a production sharing environment with nationalised oil companies. Today they are taking on more of almost a service type role with the nationalised oil companies, particularly in the Middle East and Southeast Asia. And similarly, in some of the big service companies, they are looking to apply their skills as effectively a partner alongside oil and gas companies. I think what I would say is that the line between the client and the supplier is becoming very blurred, and that's a good thing, because clearly I trained in an oil and gas company, and many of the service company professionals that are out there did the same. And now we're starting to work much more closely together.